So yesterday, when I got off work, or actually during work, I was walking around the store after I took care of something. Basically, I did a carry out, and I basically took the flatbed back to the back to the back room anyway. And I noticed, like I was saying, when I took the flatbed back to the back room area, you know, to be put away, or at least slid under one of the, I guess you could say, storage areas for use later by anybody that needed to use it. As I walked to the back and then I walked back to the front, I noticed that, well, one of the things they're doing is they're moving stuff around because of remodeling and also the holidays and stuff. So an area near the grocery portion of the store that had a lot of 49ers, Stanislaus County, Warrior stuff and everything. It's basically sports items, in that section, like sports clothing mainly, have been moved over to the men's section, if you will. And I noticed over here that there was some A's and some Giant stuff. And I was curious about that. I'm thinking, why are we putting A's and Giants out unless baseball is, back? Unless, the MLB and the MPA made an agreement, made some kind of deal, made some progress. And lo and behold, I get home and I find out that that's exactly what happened. Actually, I go to Twitter and I see the hashtag baseball is back. And looking further into it, I read that a deal had been reached. Now, a lot of people have been talking about the deal, if you will. They've been talking about the deal and what it contains and stuff. And I thought, hearing what the MLB network had to say about it, because they were talking about it mostly, and of course other places are talking about it. But from what I've heard, from what I read, it looked like a decent deal. And honestly, just like I said in my Topics on My Mind live stream about a week ago, when I brought this up as one of the topics, I said basically all the MLB has to do, is just give the guys what they want. And from what it looks like, that's exactly what they did. Because look, let me try to correct course here. Okay. Look, I know some people may disagree with that statement that that's exactly what they did. They gave them what they wanted, right? They gave them what they wanted. Some people may disagree with that, but like I said, when you look at the outline of the agreement, it definitely shows, in my point of view, that that's exactly what happened. And I did print out the article from the MLB website, and this is what it says, and I quote, this was reported yesterday by Mark Fernsand. Like I said, this was reported by Mark Fernsand yesterday on the website, and this is what it says, and I quote, headline basically says it best: MLBPA agree to new CBA, season to start April 7th. So in other words, basically a week later than what some people were hoping. But this is what they said, and I quote. This is what Mark Fernsand reported, and I quote. Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association reached an agreement on a new collective bargaining agreement on Thursday, paving the way for the 2022 regular season to begin on April 7th. After the MLBPA approved the deal by a 26-12 vote, the owners ratified it Thursday night with a unanimous 30-0 vote, officially bringing, the 3-month lockout to a close. Continuing on, and I quote, this is what the commissioner said, And this is what, to quote the commissioner, Rob Manfred said, this is what he said, and I quote, "I am genuinely thrilled to be able to say that Major League Baseball is back and we're going to play 162 games." Like I was saying, the commissioner, this is what the commissioner said, and I quote, "I am genuinely thrilled to be able to say that Major League Baseball is back and we're going to play 162 games. I do want to start by apologizing to our fans. I know that the last few months have been difficult. There's a lot of uncertainty at a point in time where there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. It's sort of the way of the process of collective bargaining work. It's sort of the way the process, okay, let me rephrase that. He says, it's sort of the way the process of collective bargaining works sometimes, but I do apologize for it. One of the good things about collective bargaining is that it gives our players an opportunity to have input on what the workplace and the game is going to look like going forward. And they took full opportunity to provide that input during these negotiations. Our players are great athletes. I respect them, and I respect the input that we received from them during this process. Now, continuing on, the last thing he said is, and we really did learn a lot. Now, basically what the commissioner is saying there is, one, he is apologizing for this delay because there are a lot of MLB fans that, follow Major League Baseball from beginning to end, basically exhibition to end. And unfortunately, because of the lockout, that, was not really possibly an option. However, I think basically what went down here, kind of woke everybody up. It's like, look. Okay, guys, continuing on, I had to take care of something right there. But like I said, basically, the players, all they wanted was, like a voice, in the situation. Like they wanted input on what they felt was necessary, they felt and believed would help them and baseball in the long run as it evolves. So yeah, like I said, the commissioner basically apologizing for something that should have been taken care of a long time ago. Now, according to the report, it says the mandatory spring training report date for all clubs is Sunday. Exhibition games are tentatively scheduled to begin on March 18th. So there will still be exhibition games. Now, like I said, a lot of MLB fans were kind of disappointed at the fact that there were none at the beginning. This is why every time you would tune into the MLB network, they would come out and basically say, well, this is when it was supposed to start, and this is the more tentative time when it could begin. So in other words, what they're saying is a week from today, we could get some spring training games, if not maybe sooner, because it's tentatively scheduled for the 18th. But if things go smoothly, we could see spring training games as soon as maybe before that, maybe the 17th or something like that. But mostly it is scheduled for the 18th. Now what this does in return is this does give the teams, not as long as they would like, because usually they begin, believe it or not, they usually begin around the last few days of February, where they have exhibition games against each other, they have exhibition games against colleges, the minor league affiliates, so on and so forth. Well, here they will basically still kind of get an exhibition run, but not the way they were hoping. And what it does, like I said, from a time rate perspective, is if it's the 18th that it begins, you will have exhibition on the 18th, the 20th. Basically what they're saying is that the 18th, the 19th, I guess you could put it this way. I guess you could say that spring training will go up until, I would say, perhaps for at least 2 weeks. That's what they're scheduling. At least 2 weeks. Because if it begins the 18th and the regular season is scheduled to begin 19 days later, then we can assume that you're going to get about 2 weeks. You're going to get 14 to 15 days of games that the games that are still scheduled to happen. You will get those games, but then what it will do in those 2 weeks, it'll give the clubs enough time basically to get themselves ready, make any cuts that they have to make, and then proceed to play on the 7th. That's the entire goal. That's the entire goal. Now the report goes on to say, and I quote from Mark Ferguson, the report goes on to say, and I quote, "The deal came to fruition a day after MLB postponed opening day until April 14th in the absence of a new agreement, and announced that each team's first 4 series were removed from the schedule. However, as part of this agreement, a full 162 game schedule will be played, and the 4 series that were previously removed from the calendar will be rescheduled." So in other words, basically what would have been the first 4 games, if you will, or the first 4 series, if you will, for each team will be moved on to later on. So in other words, what would basically be the end of the MLB season, potentially around the end of September and October, will get extended, I'm assuming, by 1 more week, or at least around that. 1 more week, or like I said, something to that status. Now what they could also do is they could probably try to schedule some of these games immediately after the All-Star game. In other words, instead of having like a day or 2 to rest for a team, or to be with the family, or basically players that won't make the All-Star game, being with their families and all that, instead those players may end up having to play games the next day. Well, they wait for the All-Star players to come back the day after. That's what I'm assuming. Like I said, that's what I'm assuming is, they may have some games scheduled to happen immediately the day after, I should say, the All-Star game, which means, teams would have to play to make up for what they lost, a lot sooner than they originally would, which means, any players that were part of the All-Star game would have to make the return probably in time for the 2nd or 3rd game, I'm assuming. But then again, the most logical answer is we're looking maybe, if you will, at 1 more week in October for the season to be completed. Continuing on though, and I quote from the article, "The new 5-year CBA includes increased minimum salaries, a new pre-arbitration bonus pool to reward the top young players in the game, a raise in competitive balance tax thresholds, the introduction of a universal designated hitter, the widest-ranging draft lottery in pro sports, a system to prevent alleged service time manipulation and limits on the number of times a player can be optioned in a season to address concerns regarding roster churn. The deal also includes an expanded 12-team postseason format, bringing playoff baseball to 2 additional markets each year. As part of the agreement, a joint competitive committee will be formed, comprised of 4 active players, 6 members appointed by MLB, and 1 umpire. Beginning in 2023, the committee will be tasked with adopting changes to playing rules such as a pitch clock, base size, defensive position, and automatic ball/strike zone. Under the previous agreement, MLB had the right to unilaterally implement rule changes with a 1-year notice. but the new system will allow the game to improve in a more timely fashion thanks to collaboration between the league and players. Manfred reached out to MLB Executive Director MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark after the union voted in favor of the deal. And I think this is Tony Clark. Oh, not Tony Clark, but this is Manfred, the guy that reported the article. Okay, this is what Manfred. I think the guy. Is it Manfred that's reporting this? Hold on. Gotta go back and look at the last page. No, it's not Manfred, it's Sanford. But Manfred reached out to MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark after the union voted in favor of the deal. And this is what Manfred had to say, and I quote, "I told him that I thought we had a great opportunity for the game in front of us, and told him that I hoped to work with him on things that are new in the agreement, like the effort to get to the international draft. More generally, on seizing the opportunity that I think is in front of us." Continuing on with the article, it says, "With the CBA finalized, teams around the league will now turn their attention to completing their off-season business. As more than 200 players remain on the free agent market, including notable names as Carlos Correa, Freddie Freeman, Chris Bryant, and Trevor Story." Now, here's where they get into the details of what the deal is about. Here's where they get into the details about what the deal is about. The deal basically consists of this. This is what they say. This is what can't even think of the guy's name right now. My bad. This is what Mark Fernsand has to detail, or basically Mark Fernsand details out about the new agreement. And he says, and this is what the new agreement is, and I quote, "In 2022, $700,000 is the minimum salary. It increases year after year by $20 or $20,000. So 2022, $700,000 minimum salary. 2023, $720,000 minimum salary. 2024, $740,000 minimum salary. Minimum salary in 2025, $760,000. And in 2026, hold on. Okay, let me reread that. It says, in 2022, the minimum salary will be $700,000. 2023, it'll increase to $720,000. In 2024, it'll increase to $740,000. In 2025, it'll increase to $760,000. And in 2026, $780,000. It goes on to detail the first year increase is the largest single increase in history, nearly 5 times larger than the 27,500 increase in the first year of the prior CBA. It also represents a larger increase than the total from the past 10 years. Now, he details this. Competitive balance tax threshold. The competitive balance tax threshold is 2022, $230 million. 2023, $233 million. 2024, $237 million. 2025, $241 million. And 2026, $244 million. It states that the $20 million increase from 2021 to 2022 is nearly twice as large as the biggest previous first-year increase. A fourth tax level has been added at $60 million above the base threshold to address runaway spending. For the next detail is pre-arbitration bonus pool, $50 million to be distributed to the top 100 players based on rewards and statistical performance. It says MLB and MLBPA will jointly develop a statistical method to allocate these funds under this system, NL National League Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burns would have seen his salary jump from $608,000 to $4.2 million last season, while Rookie of the Year winners Randy Ozaren and Jonathan Inda would have seen their respective salaries more than triple in 2021. So what they're saying is that the NL Cy Young Award winner would have had a major increase had this deal been implemented last year, and the Rookies of the Year, the winners of Rookie of the Year, would have saw a triple in their salaries had this basically been implemented last year. It goes on to state the draft lottery. Top 6 selections will be awarded via lottery. Odds would be based on the reverse order of winning percentage, with the bottom 3 clubs each at 16.5%. It says the 18 non-postseason clubs would be eligible through revenue-sharing payees. Oh, okay, let me reread that. Hold on. It says the 18 non-postseason clubs would be eligible, though revenue-sharing payees would be eligible to receive lottery selections in 3 consecutive years, while non-payees would be ineligible to receive lottery selections in consecutive years. It goes on to state international draft. It says, in exchange for agreeing to an international draft by July 25th, 2022, my birthday, believe it or not, MLB will eliminate the qualifying offering system, direct draft compensation for free agents. International draft would be 20 rounds, 600 plus selections, increasing the total compensation earned by amateurs by more than $20 million annually. Signing bonuses would be guaranteed for drafted players. Clubs who select players from growth countries with less than 0.5% of signings in the previous 3 periods, will receive additional selections to incentive scouting and signing in emerging markets. It states, and I quote, rule changes. Now, this is one of the big issues that was being talked about, and back and forth in this this battle of trying to get this thing done. The rule changes. It states, beginning in 2023, a committee comprised of 4 active players, 6 members appointed by MLB, and 1 umpire will be tasked with adopting changes to playing rules such as a pitch clock, base size, defensive position, and automatic ball strike zone. So, in other words, basically, instead of it just being like, let's say, guys that have retired, people in suits or whatever the case is, instead, players, active players, will finally have a say in some of the rules. And that's what players have been wanting. They've been wanting an opportunity to say, hey, look, this is how we should, I think this rule should be, abolished, or I think this rule should be implemented, or I think this should have, they're trying to make it more fun for them and anybody else that, is going to be playing, and for the fans as well. Other details include contracts for arbitrated eligible players will be guaranteed. Top prospects who finish first or second in the Rookie of the Year voting will receive a full year of service. Clubs promoting top prospects to opening day rosters will be eligible to receive draft picks if the player finishes in the top 3 in the Rookie of the Year voting, or top 5 in the MVP/Cy Young Award winning voting. Expanded postseason, 12 teams with the top 2 division winners receiving a bye. Universal designated hitter. Players may only be optioned 5 times per season. And that's about it. So basically, I know it sounds like a lot of gobbledygooky, if you will, a lot of gobbledygooky, but when you really get down to it, this is something that, obviously, it's obviously when you read a lot of this, you read a lot of the stuff that's agreed upon, it's like I said, it is basically, the players getting what they want. It's, when you get down to it, it's the players basically telling MLB, the MLB people, that, hey, we control this. We run this show, not you. It's like you may have the power to, expand, the league into different, markets and all that. You may have the power to do this and that, but in the end, we, the players, have the true power. Excuse me there. We players have the true power. We're the ones that we are the ones that truly call the shots. We're the ones that hold the future of MLB in our hand. And they pretty much proved it here. They said, hey, you want to cause what I'm trying to say is they pretty much proved it here. Because there were players that were part of this, they came out and said, look, you want to basically be responsible for a lockout happening, for no baseball happening, for people that have bought season tickets to have to be, not to have to be stuck at home because, hey, they can't go to a game because there's no games to be played, or because you wouldn't give us and essentially them what they wanted. You want to be the ones that take the blame? That's what was going on. The Players Association was basically stating, and I read this a couple of times, they were stating, hey, we're not going to be the ones to take the blame. You are. You're the ones that are going to take the blame. You're the ones that are going to have to deal with this when it's all said and done, if you will. It's like you're the ones that are going to have to deal with this. You're the ones that are going to have to, basically face the irateness of the fans. So to me, obviously, the MLB, the owners, the people in charge, they knew, basically, oh crap, we probably should give them what they want, but how can we do it that makes it kind of a win-win for both sides? So obviously they came up with a solution. They came up with these various solutions, and now we got a season. And again, I know some people would disagree that, the MLBPA did not really win. It was basically a mutual agreement. But here's the thing. But here's the thing though. Like I said, most of what's detailed in the agreement was what the players wanted. It's what they wanted. It's what they wanted, and they got it, if not maybe a little bit more. I mean, true, they may have had to reduce the thoughts on a few things here and there, but it's what they wanted, and they finally got it. They finally got it to an extent. Maybe, like I said, they may have had to sacrifice a few things, but not much. Not much whatsoever. So to me, in the end, this was just the MLBPA, the Players Association, and to an extent the fans coming out and telling the MLB people, hey, you may have all this power to do this and that, but in the end, we're the ones that hold the true power. We're the ones that basically hold the future of MLB baseball in the palm of our hands. So if you don't give us what we're asking for, which isn't much, and we feel is fair, then it will be you that take the blame, you that come under fire by the fans and those that love the game of baseball and look forward to it every spring and summer and early to mid-fall. You'll take the blame, not us. So yeah, I think this is a great move. Honestly, I think this is a great deal. Hopefully nothing will disrupt it. Here's the thing, I don't think the international draft thing is going to be, an issue that, when they come up to make that deal happen on my birthday. I don't think that'll be an issue whatsoever. They got plenty of time between now and then to work something out, and hopefully whatever deals they work out when it comes to that, will essentially, if I go back to this, will essentially, like I said, whatever lessons they learn for this will essentially be applied to that agreement they make for the international draft on July 25th. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Who do you think honestly won in the end? Do you think it was a mutual victory? Or do you think the MLBPA, and to an extent the fans, finally showed the facts, finally showed the world that, hey, we're the ones that hold the true power, not these guys? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere, where super chats and super stickers are open. It would be appreciated. Also, check me out at my Teespring store. Also, check me out at BW Roses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check me out at BW Roses on Vimeo. Also, check me out at patreon.com/BW Roses. to support me there. Also check me out at deviantart.com/BVW1979. Also check me out at Venmo at Brian-Warmer-2 to help support me there financially, and at Cash App at BWRoses98. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this new agreement that's going to get us a full 162 season. What are your thoughts overall? And I will talk to you all later.